Hey, what's going on? It's Warren Jackson. I'm back with another video. In this video, I want to talk about my process of how I went from high school to Division II college, my last college. I wanted to get this story out just to show, um, the process of what I went through to get to the school that I wanted to go through, which wasn't an easy road. And I also just want to get it out there for other people to see it and, not basically, I don't want to say judge on what I went through, but look at it as something like, okay, he did this and overcame an obstacle or overcame being under recruited or not recruited at all and still reached, a goal of his to get somewhere that he wanted to go and continue playing basketball and also getting an education. So I'm trying not to make the video too long, but, we're going to start at high school and we're gonna go all the way up until my last college. Like I said, just a little background information about me. I've been playing basketball since I was about 4 or 5 years old, and it's been something that I love to do throughout my life. Something I'm passionate about, and something I took seriously. Maybe at times I didn't take it as seriously when I was younger, but I grew to learning to get a work ethic and just different things like that, the things that come with the game, the things that you have to do in order to be successful in the game. But to the story, high school senior year, I played good. I played decent, averaged about 19 points, 3 or 4 assists a game, a few rebounds a game, maybe 2 or 3. And I felt like I was one of the better players throughout Michigan. I won. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I won like second or third team all PSL, public school league, and I had a lot of recognition that year. Unfortunately, it didn't lead to me being recruited. And I remember like it was yesterday. The season was over. I was walking to one of my friends' houses, me and one of my friends, or 2 or 3 of us, and we was walking to his house, and I got a call from a local community college in Michigan, and he called me in. I picked up the phone. He said, "Hey, how's it going? This is so-and-so from this college, and we seen you play. We want you. We was thinking about or trying to see if you would be able to come up and, play some open gym, take a look at the school, and, hopefully come here." And I remember after, I was respectful and everything and told him, okay, and things like that. But I remember as soon as I got off the phone and I, told my friends, hey, this school just called me, this community college, and I was just like, man, I ain't going. Like, I'm done. And, I felt like that because of, I seen my peers and people that I played against and things like that was going to these big Division I schools. A lot of the good players was going places, and I felt like, I was as good as anybody, that I had played against or played with. And it was kind of, how can I say, it was like, it didn't feel good knowing that, a lot of the people that I played against, that I competed against and thought I was as good as them, was going, to the highest of schools, and I didn't even have, NAIA, a D3, a D2. I didn't have, no school was recruiting me, and it didn't make me feel good, and I remember feeling like, man, I'm done. I'll get a job or something and just go on with life. And not to say that I felt like I was better than anybody else or like those players weren't good. Those players were good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they wasn't head and shoulders above me to where, they was, like I said, going to some of the biggest schools, and I didn't get recruited anywhere really. So throughout that process, the summertime, not knowing where I'm going. I ended up getting lucky, and one of my dad's friends, told him about a school in North Carolina, a prep school, and they wanted me to come down there, do a tryout, and check the school out and things like that. So I remember me, my dad, my mom, and I think my grandma. My dad rented a minivan, and we drove all the way down to North Carolina for me to, do the workout and tryout. So we get there. It's a bunch of guys in the gym. We meet the coach. We have a talk with him. Meet the guys, walk around the school, get a tour of the school. And, we end up going through the process of working out and all of those things that was scheduled. I worked out pretty good. Had a good open gym session, or, the 5-on-5 games, played pretty good. And, I ended up getting accepted. They said they wanted me. And, they said they wanted me. And throughout that process, going back home, I was back on the up and up. I'm like, I got a prep school to go to. I was just feeling like I got a clean slate. I can start over. I can be recruited. If I play well enough, I can be recruited, and I can get to go to a school that I would like, whether it's Division I, Division II, whatever it was. So then, let's say, fast forward to the end of summer, I end up going to the school. The first day, my dad drove. We rented another minivan. We drove up there. My uncle came with us, and they helped me settle in. And I just remember feeling that the first day after they left, I was just like, damn, I'm here by myself. I don't know nobody. I wasn't really an outgoing kid. Pretty quiet, and I just remember feeling like, what's next? It was big. First time being on my own in a different state. First time it's a shocking thing. It's feel like you gotta. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but it was new. It was new, and I was kind of nervous about it. But throughout that year, I played well. Probably averaged like around 20 points a game in the prep school. We played against a lot of good guys that was, in the area. And we played against some of the biggest prep schools. Like we played against Mount Zion. We played against some big prep schools. Went to a tournament down in Atlanta, things like that. So the exposure, I was able to, get some exposure, which I was hoping that I would get in front of some schools and, so they could see me play. So all of that went well. And I remember it like during that season, you have to take the ACT, SAT, so you can qualify to go to school, whatever. So in that process, the first time I signed up, and down there they only had the SAT, they didn't have the ACT. So, I took the ACT back in high school because they had it up here in Michigan. They didn't have the SAT, and there I ended up taking the SAT. But anyway, I took the SAT, and I got my results back, and they mailed them to my mom and dad's house. And, once I got my results back, I remember talking to my dad, and I'm like, what's my score? Because I know you needed a certain score. I think it was like a 1390, 1360. You needed that score, but that was without a certain part. But anyway, I asked my dad, I'm like, what's my score? And he said, yeah, you got the score. You got way over the score. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking like, okay, I'm good now. I'm good. I got my score. Now all I got to worry about is continue to play. You know what I'm saying? Playing good and, getting recruited. So all throughout that process, I got looked at, got some interest in some Division I schools. I had a lot of interest from Division II schools. And if you know about the SAT, you get like every few weeks, or it's something like that, where you can retake the test to get a better score or whatever. But me already knowing that I passed it, I didn't decide to, take the SAT again. I was like, there's no reason to take it again because I already got the score I needed to, for me to get into school. So throughout that process, I say, I continued to play well. I continued to get recruited. I had some visits to a lot of Division II schools, and I was continue to get, interest from Division I schools. By the end of the year, I had a few Division II scholarships, and I didn't have any D1 scholarships, but I had I say about 4 or 5 Division II scholarships. And once the season was over, and everybody trying to figure out what school they going to, and if you know about, as a high school athlete, once you're done with high school, prep school, high school, same thing. But once you're done, you have to register on the NCAA, site to register as that you're going to college, and you have to put your scores, your ACT, SAT scores up and everything like that. And once you do that, they accept your application or whatever, and then you're eligible to be a college student athlete. So we all, after the year is over, it's all of us. It's probably like, I say about 7 or 8 of us in the room, and we registering on the NCAA website to do our application to become college eligible, basically. And a couple of my friends, they doing their application first, and they looking at their scores. Some of them got their scores, so they good. Some of them still gonna be able to take it. I think it was like one more, but you had to already be signed up in advance to take it. And it get to me, so now we doing my application, doing everything, and we get to the SAT part where you gotta put your SAT scores in, or the test number that you took or whatever. And when we get to it, my SAT score didn't qualify. So now I'm kind of panicking. I called my dad. I'm like, hey, what's going on? They saying my SAT score is not, I didn't get the number that I was supposed to got. What number does it say? And he tell me the number again, and I said, is that with the I gotta come back to that, but I was like, what is a certain number that you're supposed to take away from it? So it's a certain section in the SAT that's not included in your total number. And basically that number, he added both of those numbers together, and you're supposed to take that number off and add up everything else, like the math, reading, science, all that stuff. You take your top 3 scores. But anyway, I ended up finding out, that I didn't get the score I needed. And I remember one of my guys, Big Mike, he was like, oh my God, Warren, what's going on? He said, wow. He was so in shock, man. He was hurt for me, and cause we was planning on going to the same school. He's a 7-foot dude, real big, man, real good shot blocker. But he was hurt, man, cause we was planning on going to the same school as a package deal. But he had his own office too, so like I said, he had his own schools and everything. So he still could go wherever he wanted and things like that. But it was just the thought that we was thinking about doing it, and hoping that we maybe would be able to. But I remember, like, I was like, damn, I'm basically back at square one. I'm trying to figure out if I can take the test, sign up, take the test again, and the deadline had reached, so I wasn't able to take the test. And I remember talking to my prep school coach, which he went through JUCO and went to a Division I school, and then he went to play overseas. So I had somebody, to kind of lean on and talk to about that whole process and everything. But we was having like open gym sessions, and they was having other, new guys coming to work out, trying to, get on the team for next year and stuff like that. And I remember I felt so devastated. I remember feeling like I was back in the same process of when I was in high school, but only this time I actually was getting recruited. But because I thought that I got the SAT score that I needed, that I'll be able to go to school, and that ended up not being the case. So ended up talking to my prep school coach, and he was telling me like, man, ain't nothing wrong with JUCO. I'm a